Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back again to another session of Speak Your Mind. So tonight, hopefully we'll have a very good, informed show, a show where we can dialogue and communicate with you guys. I know a lot of you are watching. I know a lot of you are listening to the program. You tune in every week from what I hear on the street every day. So I want to say thank you for all the viewers who view into this show and look at this show for good sound information, and I hope that together, folks, we can grow as a community. We can build this nation together. We can do the things that we need to do to make sure that the BVI, the British Virgin Islands, or the Virgin Islands, depending on what side of the mirror you're on, can continue to grow in a prosperous, positive way. So I just want to say thank you again to all you folks that gave me good, positive feedback. Even the ones who don't give good, positive feedback, that's also welcome, because it gives a balance. And that's what I'm all about. I'm about balance, no matter how biased sometimes some of you might think I am. We try to create a balance on the show. So take a few minutes, call your friends, let other folks know that the Speak Your Mind show is on. Tonight we're live. You can see the live symbol right above the JTV sign. We are live tonight. I want to hear from you guys. We're going to open up the phone immediately. I don't like to hold back. I want to give people more chance to talk and call in to let us know what's going on in the community. The phone number is up on screen. You can call us right now. We'll open it up with you. I want to know what's on your mind, how things has been going for you in the past 2 weeks. Last week we did a rerun. That rerun was a bit of a controversial rerun. I said some stuff about globalization and the fact that, I believe that we as a people, the British Virgin Islands, came from a long legacy of entrepreneurship, came from a long legacy of guys who are forward thinkers, and they put certain things in place. And the BVI was very fortunate many, many years ago to be owners of land, and being an owner of a land, we were ahead of most other places around here in the Caribbean, and that helped us a lot. And legislatively, we were very mature people. Years before I was born, there were people back in the 40s and 50s fighting for this great land, thinking about certain things for themselves, understanding that yes, we are in a global world. Even back then, we were in a global world. They understood that, but they also understand that ownership, entrepreneurship, belongership locally is what's going to make us successful, and if we can continue to maintain that level of security, it'd be good for the BVI. I got a few things that I saw in the news this week that I thought I would open up the show with and put it out there for folks that want to probably dialogue on those things. But again, the phone lines are open. You don't have to hold back. You don't have to wait till when you think you hear something controversial or somebody tickle you, or you want to respond to somebody because you disagree with them. There's a lot of good things happening. So don't always focus. Let's not always focus on the things that we think are negative, but let's focus on some things that could be positive, spin a positive light on it, so others can say, you know what, that's true. Let's have some faith. One of the first things on my list, of course, I was reading news, and I was very pleased to hear that the government is putting some effort and time and energy into educating our contractors, young people, young men, young women who have a desire to be builders and creators in this country. The government has given them an opportunity. There was a workshop, I believe it was on the 5th of this month at the college. Many people were able to go out there and understand what it means to be a contractor. What do you have to do, and how do you prepare yourself? How do you prepare paperwork? How do you read and submit proposals for development? And some of those things were a requirement from the Caribbean Development Bank, I believe it is. If I'm mistaken on that, just call me and let me know. But I think that's great. Those are the kind of things we want to continue to see. In addition to that, I want to see now that those guys have the first opportunity when development plans come, when there's things in the work for development, that those guys are considered. I would like to see the government tapping off on top of that, and I hope the contractors agree with me. There should be some kind of rotation list. And government officials, folks who are watching this show and reporting back to the government. Here's what I'm saying. I think that all of these contractors in the different areas that they live in, they should be on a list, a rotation list. Each one at a time. Whatever project is coming up, you consider the next guy on top of the list to make it fair and even across the board. It doesn't matter if he was a hardcore party supporter or not. The fact that he's somebody who's going to contribute back to the economy, he's going to employ people. Employment is good for the economy, it's good for the government. So create a list, top to bottom. Start alphabetically. First one on the list, no matter how big or small the job is. If it's too big, obviously he needs more requirement, he needs more thing, then you go to the next guy. But you create that list, you create that sense of security, everybody's on the same playing field, and then everybody goes forward. So I would like to see something like that. But again, I think it's a really good thing. I want to say, congratulations to the government. I think it's an awesome thing. And I remember something like this happening years ago. I think my good friend Lloyd Wheatley, I haven't seen him in a while, but I believe he was one of the people spearheading a training seminar at the same college. And I think it was on between 2003 and 2007. So I thought, again, these kind of action is needed. We need more of it. We got, the Small Business Bureau headed by O.J. Smith, who's doing a series of workshops. Those workshops, I've attended one of them, Small Business Workshop. And I think they're great. They're good information. It's a good way to network and meet other people who are in business, who are striving to become business owners, young entrepreneurs who wants to do things for themselves. And that kind of energy, that kind of momentum is what the BVI is all about. That's why we're successful. That's why we're good. That's why we're able to attract direct investment from outside, foreign direct investment. And I think that's great because we have the entrepreneurial skills to do things like that. I remember years ago, I did a little tour with a gentleman that owned a trust company. I won't call the name. And while having lunch with that gentleman, the gentleman said to me, he said, in Panama, I can get, 5 people to do the work of one person here at a much cheaper rate. But I won't do that because the BVI has a sense of stability and it has a lot of things in place, benefits in doing the business here, and he preferred to do it here. So, always going cheap isn't necessarily always the best avenue. So it's always good to strengthen your economy by strengthening your people, creating, again, entrepreneurship. I'm about entrepreneurship, folks. I believe in giving young people a chance, giving anybody a chance, really, who have good ideas. And I think we should find ways to, through our banks, through our government, through small business development, to help strengthen the ideas. We got a lot of young people, There's an argument I hear all the time that with the boys and girls in school, they say the girls are educating themselves, but the boys ain't doing nothing. There's some truth to that. But what I'm going to say is that there's a lot of young men out here who are creatives. They may not necessarily be smart, intellectual people. They're not, academically, they're not real great because that's not where they want to go in life. They want to be out there creating things. They want to build things with their hands, but all they need is a sense of direction and some help. So sometimes you got to look at that. It's not always the people that go to college and come up with a master's degrees or the people, the shakers and movers of our economy. Sometimes it's those people who are on the street who have great ideas but just need a little help pushing it. So again, I want to congratulate the government for that workshop that they did with the contractors. I think the contractors should take advantage of that, but I would like to see more of it, not just one time, once a year. Something like that needs to happen 3 times a year, to give those guys, refresh them every time. There needs to be something built inside the Small Business Bureau to help those guys. Now when they leave the workshop, they go to a place where they can get help in putting forth proposals and business plans and those kind of things, and that needs to happen. And again, it might be a little investment on the government side, but that investment is a greater return, because when those guys become successful, it's a greater return. The country benefit, because not only you have independent contractors, people who are not just now dependent on the government waiting for a work, but people who can go out and look at different projects, private development, and put forth business plan and proposal for that as well, and they're able to get those jobs. So it creates a sense of independence and not dependence, and that's what we're all about. So Anybody want to comment on that? I was talking about the contractors workshop that the government held recently at the college. I thought it was a great thing. So if you believe it was good, call and say so. Again, I don't want this show to always be about complaints. We want to find solutions to our situations. If you have a situation that you believe needs rectifying, call me and let me know about it. But then I also say, you know, I think we could do this. I think we can do that. Because the people who are making the decision are actually listening. And if they hear enough of us say, you know, here's something, here's a way that we could probably do that differently, maybe they might listen. And I see a lot of action happening. We just have to wait to see how it materialize. Virgin Gorda residents, I want to hear from you tonight. I saw something in the news that I thought was big. You guys been asking for years and years and years. You've been crying about a better hospital system, a development in a hospital system. Again, this is something that I saw that I thought was great. $334,000 signing of a contract to help get Virgin Gorda Hospital and Healthcare Program on stream. I want to see the same thing, yes, for Anegada and Jocelyn Dyke. We're writing one thing at a time. Right now, we're talking about Virgin Gorda. And I'm not, again, dismissing any other island. We need it on all the islands. So the focus right now just happened to be Virgin Gorda because the contract was signed to help improve efficiency, you know, quality of service, more services at the hospital in Virgin Gorda. So the government signed a contract there to improve drawings, to build a bigger, hopefully better building, more efficient for the residents up there, more comfortable, and hopefully to have enough services for sometimes when you have situation, everybody don't have to jump on the ferry to get down here, or if it's late at night, hire a private boat to get you down here, which costs you an arm and a leg. So we want to be able to see where people can get the service, and I think that's a great thing. So Virgin Gorda, we want to hear from you. I want to know how you guys feel about that. You know, you've been asking for it. It's there. It's in the work. Do we have the money? Who knows? We'll find the money. We have to try. You know. So and many of you, again, with Virgin Gorda being a premier destination for tourism, good people that live there, they need this. This is something that's needed in Virgin Gorda. So I want to hear from you guys on that. I want to know how you feel about that. The signing of the contract to, you know, to draw and develop the hospital system up there, the clinic, not the hospital, but the clinic. So let me know, Virgin Gorda, and even some of the outer islands. You know, folks in the outer island, call me also and let me know how you feel about that. What do you think needs to be done immediately, or should be addressed immediately in your island? Anegada, we know, I think one of the things that need to be addressed in Anegada is a more efficient way of transportation. There should be ferry service, I think, stationed on Anegada for, you know, late night situations. I don't know if there's any over there. I don't know of any. If there is a ferry service, I know there's 2 ferry services that service Anegada, and both of them are stationed in Tortola. If there's another ferry service that's stationed in Anegada, call me, let me know. But I think for the folks in Anegada, there should be some kind of ferry service that could, you know, if there's an emergency, that could, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, could get on that ferry and come to Tortola and deal with that emergency. And also we need to have, you know, I guess, you know, I know there was talk about the hospital boat. Yeah, I know there was one supposedly being purchased for Virgin Gorda, but that hospital boat should be able to service both Anegada and Virgin Gorda. And we should have one in each island. Each island should have its own mode of emergency transportation. So I think that's great. Again, yeah, whatever island you live on, we got 4 main islands where government installation is situated, schools and so forth. So obviously those are the islands that should get a lot of attention because it's regular people living there. The other islands, of course, they're private development. Most of those people are self-sufficient. They have boats, they have access to a whole lot of other resources that the main islands probably don't have. So we're not forgetting those islands, we're just simply focusing on the ones where where you and I live, where we exist, where we need things done. So again, folks, I want to say come back. I hope most of you know are watching. If you know of anybody that's not watching, tonight we shouldn't have any distractions. I must say 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you know, the show was a bit scary. I don't like to be on this show and not hear from you guys. And I know it was a bit of a challenge because a lot of you were out at some of the different events that weekend. I counted 11 different events going on around Tortola. And I must say, I got a report. I think it's awesome to see, to hear that was so many people at all of those different events. Everybody was well supported. And that's what we should be doing within our territory. We should be supporting the different events, stimulating our own economy, and then welcoming all the outside investment coming in. We should find ways to do that. And that's something I'm going to touch on next. You know, the Buy BVI trade show. I don't know if I haven't been there, and I'll be honest, I haven't been to the Buy BVI trade show. Today I wanted to go really, really bad, and I got caught up in making money, so to speak. I was kind of busy running around town trying to deal with tourists, and I didn't get a chance to go by, but I heard it's been, you know, phenomenal. I was reading the opening remarks made by the Deputy Premier and the Chairman of the BVI-CCHA. And I thought both opening remarks were excellent. I thought they were awesome. They were on point. And they were encouraging. You know, the Deputy Premier encouraged business owners, local business owners, to be more entrepreneurial, to be more competitive, to think about, you know, how can I be price competitive? How can I be customer service oriented? You know, those are the kind of things he was trying to say. And those are the kind of things we have to start thinking about if we're going to start protecting our business. It's hard. The numbers are small. The amount of people that go around the island and support the businesses, the numbers are small. We know that. We got a call. Let's get to the phone. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Talk to me. It's a live show.
Yes, son.
Uh-huh.
What's up, my brother?
I'm here, you know. Talk to me.
You know, son, I had to talk about this, and I really trying to say too much about this thing no more, but I had to talk about this.
I appreciate it. Talk to me.
Now, I know there's something very strange going on. You know, you have a heavy problem in Tortola complying with work. The work is central. Because everything is wrong here now. And you got a whole truckload of man walking about on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also happened that I was looking into a paper 2 weeks ago last week, and the amount of brand new work permit application I seen, it would make your stomach swell. And to me, I don't think that is right. Not only that, I understand that there are certain individuals bringing 60, whether they is Filipinos or Vietnamese or whatever it is in this country, and they all got work permit. Something ain't right somewhere along the line, son. Because if we got a problem here, work shortage here, and not only all over the Caribbean, and them kind of work permit application in there, something wrong if they issue them permit. It's not much about it.
No, I agree with you, Carla. It's something that I've been watching and monitoring, and I actually had talks with people who are on the inside, who knows exactly what's going on, and they're saying it's wrong. It's a challenge. You know, there's so many different talks about, oh, people don't want to work, or they asking for too much money, and all this different stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I think as a country we need to try harder. I think locals or whoever our contractors are needs to, you know, if you can afford to pay people a decent wage, pay them a decent wage. You're making big money off the top. Make your big money off the top.
They're bringing these Filipinos in, they're paying them nothing.
Yeah.
They're working like slaves.
It's not right. Yeah. And that's going to kill this country. That's going to kill this country, you know. I've been having a lot of discussion about this whole globalization thing, and people tell me I don't understand what's going on. But let me tell you something. When you start flooding your market with cheap labor, and you continue to do these things, and they're not even cheap labor that's circulating money in your economy, you're going to kill this country. And I am appealing to all of us who are out there doing it.
You want me to give you a little piece of history what happened in Barbados? Now, some years ago, in Barbados, they have a crisis down there with people that went in there that was working for a lot less money than the Bajans. And people still want to know how to get in there. So if you could find a man to pay $10 a day, why would you pay a Bajan 110? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. The next thing I want to touch some base on with you, Sam.
Talk to me.
The problem of Bojangara with the school.
Bojangara schools.
The school of Bojangara, where they have a big problem there with somebody, medicine with somebody.
Yeah. The school teacher.
Yes, but my concern about that is why the minister won't get themselves from the school and saying that he want everybody to go to psychiatrists and whatever. In this time of the year, don't close the school, not because of that. To me, that was wrong. And to me, that's trying to impress who I don't know. And you know, I can call a spade, and that's what happened.
Let me get this straight because people are listening. You're saying since that incident, the minister closed down the school?
I understand.
Okay.
That's what I understand. And if it's true, wrong.
Okay.
Because you own only the children of them who in that particular class that knows about this thing need to go to psychiatrists.
Yeah.
If any at all. And the teacher should be locked up from day one.
Yeah.
And I am always saying this, Sam, I'm glad it ain't one of my grandchildren. I ain't glad you happen to be because of my children, but I'm glad it ain't mine.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're a fine he.
Yeah. I haven't heard about the school closing, but I think the incident is deplorable. I mean, it's sad, you know, that to know that, you know, we still got people in our community who we hold responsible for our youths are engaging in this kind of behavior. Now it's only alleged, but it sounds like a good allegation.
I'm saying it loud and clear, Sam. One of the things that needs happen here in this country, whether it's a BB Islander, a Trinidadian, or concession, or whoever it is, and you military a child, you become a sex offender. You should be registered, and everybody's supposed to know you.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we need to publicize these people, put them out in the street, so every time they walk around, people know exactly who they are. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that. I mean, they do it, I know in Florida, I believe they do it, where in the local communities, when you're a registered sex offender, your name is on a hot list, and everybody in the community knows. And they should know.
Because this house they got a sex offender, they're really
Yeah, it's sickening.
It needs to be done. Hey, this thing is getting out of control in this country.
Yeah.
And they're getting a slap on the wrist, 8, 9, 10 years, and they walk him out. Not only that, they're getting bail, a lot of them skipping down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they should be punished severely too. You know, because a lot of people are doing these things and doing these acts and then just getting a slap on the wrist. Regardless of where you're from, BVI, non-BVI, it don't matter. You know, it should be across the board. But
I am begging them to keep off of my grandchildren. I got some granddaughters, and I beg them to do for God's sake. Don't touch none of them as long as I am alive. Yeah. Because they will find a person.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you, caller. Thanks so much for the call. All right, appreciate that call, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the caller touched on two sore situation right now, and I want to make an appeal to a lot of my local brothers and sisters who are engaging and you know, you go out and you bid for these multi-million-dollar contracts, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of contract. You know, you're making good money off the top, and you believe that it's necessary to go out and hire cheap labor. I don't know how cheap it is, because I can't see how cheap it could be or how much cheaper it could be to import people all the way from wherever. You got to house them, you got to pay for transportation, and all that stuff is a cost. At the end of the day, when you add it up, it might be cheaper to hire good labor here. I understand the argument about labor costs here has gone up. I think that could be regulated if the contractors all come together and have an agreement that we're going to hire people, Here's a standard, industry standard. We're going to maintain some sense of stability in the industry, and then I think you could find good, hard-working people. We got a lot of people sitting around, so we need to start engaging in that. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a call. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the phone lines are open again, so we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
The holidays are here once again. What if you had the power to connect people in your own way, sharing special moments, giving more than gifts, a smile, and being part of something worthwhile? This Christmas, let's give each other something extraordinary. Let's share a smile with Digicel. This Christmas, Digicel brings you $35,000 of smiles to share with daily prizes of BlackBerry 4G handsets, free credit, and a grand prize of $10,000. That's $10,000. Simply top up $10 or more, buy a phone, or pay your bill on time and in full for your chance to win. Let's share a smile with Digicel.
Alright, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to remind you guys that this is the second to last show. Next week going to be our last show, so we want you guys to get in on a conversation tonight and next week, and then hopefully we can close the show off on a positive note. Before we go forward, I want to put something else there to you guys again about this Greenland field. There's a situation with our young people vandalizing our property and in different properties around the territory. I want to appeal to the parents and to the young people. Parents, you know, if you know your kids are destructive, please walk with them, talk to them. You know, let's stop the destruction. Let's stop destroying ourselves and our home. We have to stop. You know, there's a situation at the Greenland field where, you know, the government just spent a lot of money, time, and effort to do something for the youth in the community, and somebody turned around and vandalized the place. That's not right. It is absolutely wrong. So folks, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Young people, come on, man. This is your home. This is your home. You got to live. You got to grow. You want a good home. You want a positive home. You want a good home that where people could come in and say, man, this look good. I want to be a part of this. Protect it. You got to protect it. So please stop vandalizing your own thing, especially when we put so much time and effort into it. Before we went on break, I got 3 texts. I just want to throw those texts out to you. The smell by supermarket in Rotong is deplorable. Somebody said it's disgusting. You walk by there, it smells like sewers. The sewage and the garbage bin right there seem like they're mixing. I think that the public health department needs to really take a look at that. We got a lot of tourists that walk by there. We got people that walk in the neighborhood, moving from place to place, doing shopping and so forth. It's really bad. Another text came in and said, they want to know if there's any major hotel development in the pipeline. I don't know of any. I wish there would be. I would like to see one in Tortola. Prospect Creek, I saw something in the news recently about the premier saying that maybe we could be looking at some outside investors to take part in that. I would say to the premier, when I see him again, I'm going to say, Premier, you got local investments right here in the BVI. And before you start jumping off your seat, this is what I'm saying. We got local investors. Get with those local investors the same way you got with the contractors. Pool them together, pool their resources together, and say to them, build to suit. Build something, work in collaboration with the government and your local developers. Build something nice that the international market is looking for, and then brand it with one of those other companies. You don't have to sell it to those companies. You build it, get a guarantee that as long as you build it to their spec, they'll come in and rent it and lease it. You have a good product. Don't give it away. I approach that the same way I approach the signing of the Bargassville plant. I think that's awesome. I believe in things like that. Don't give away your natural resources to nobody when you could do something with it yourself. When you could develop it, you could control it, and then you just allow others to come and help you manage it. Transfer of technology. You bring people in, make sure they train your staff. Make sure they train the people who live here, who are committed to here, who belong here. So when they leave, the information, the technology, and everything is right here. All right. So I think that's important. So I approach that. I don't know if there's any major development in hotel except for what's happening in Oil Nut Bay and so forth. But on Tortola, none that I know of. Another major concern, this text, so we had 2 texts came in just now and asked, you know, they said we need to put it out there. We need junior high school. We need to separate these little 11-year-olds. I looked at a little girl the other day. She was at the school my son go to. My son is 9 years old. She's 11. And my son is taller than her. And she had on a high school uniform. And I asked the young lady, I said, where did you go to school? Even though I saw the uniform, she said BVI High School. I think it's crazy to have these little, Elmo Stout, sorry, to have these little kids mix in with these older, a little bit more rowdy, a little bit more mature kids. And I agree with that texter. We really need to think about this. These kids are growing up really fast, and sometimes that fastness is not necessarily a good thing. They need to be a increment maturity process. So those are the 3 texts I just got. We got a few more in the pipeline. We'll talk to those. We'll get to those in a minute. Co-host Courtney is here with me. Courtney, welcome back.
Yeah, and good evening to everyone. It's been a little while, but I'm still here, and I'm happy to be here among our people, and raising some of the issues that we have in our community. And of course, the show is the show before the last show, but we're still planning to have a great time on the show tonight. We're going to raise a couple of other issues as well, Sam. We're going to try and talk a little bit about traffic and road works. And we're going to talk about some sewage issues as well. We're here in the community, and we're here to stay. So we have to ensure that we continue to dialogue about the things that can make life better for us here in these Virgin Islands, and encourage other persons to speak up and not be timid. Like I'm using that word tonight, not be timid. Whatever your circumstances are, you still have to be able to speak up, and to speak up about the things that you want to speak up about. And don't listen to all the stuff about censorship and closing this down and all that kind of stuff. This is a democracy. And the only how you can have democracy is if the people who are part of the democracy exercise their rights. And part of your rights as a democratic citizen is to express yourself, and Sam, we're going to be encouraging that even more on the show as we go along.
Now, Courtney, since you're talking about traffic, of course, we want to send out our condolences to the young man and the family.
Definitely to Molly and his entire Moses family. Tragic loss of a young life. And
that was terrible.
It was really terrible.
But, Courtney, there's something I want to say about traffic and regulating traffic when there's work being done.
Yes.
And I don't know if you noticed that there's been a series of patching going on the road.
No, I haven't noticed that.
Okay, we have I don't know if they're all public work department people or some of them, the backer operators, are private individual working in conjunction with public work. But throughout the territories, the guys are cutting up the road in different areas where they think needs to be patched properly. And then the backhoe come in, it digs that up, put it in the back of a public work truck. I saw one yesterday in Seagalls Bay. And then the other guys come behind and patch it. No. Obviously, they're trying to do some work on the road. Yeah. But Courtney, here's the problem. Coming out of West End, around the corner there by Nanny Key, you're coming up round a bend, and here's 2 cars in front of you. Stop. Why? Because there's nobody on the corner, and I nearly run down those people, and somebody nearly run me down, and somebody nearly run that person down. Because whoever's dealing with the business don't have the proper manpower to carefully, professionally deal with traffic. There's no flagger before the construction site, and when there is a flagger, he doesn't even have a flag in his hand. You don't even have the protected, reflective vest they should be wearing. I mean, you know, I'm gonna call Jeffrey. I think Jeffrey Skelton is watching, and I think Jeffrey's the man. Jeffrey's a responsive person, and somebody needs to really look into this. Contractors, man, I know you guys gonna hate me for this, but man, you know what? If you ain't gonna have the right people in place, if you're not gonna do the right thing to deal with traffic, you shouldn't get that contract, because I know you guys are putting that money in your bid. And if you're getting the money fit, you should have people properly positioned before the workplace and after the workplace. You should have a sign that says slow. You should have a sign that says stop. And those should be in the people them hand. Dealing with traffic, you guys should have radios communicating with one another. So, of course, there's a major problem or concern. You know, we talked about that here the other day about traffic being tied up. You know, tying up the rest of traffic because the guys are patching the road in the middle of the rush hour. Yes. I mean, something needs to be said about that, and something needs to be done. So contractors, I ain't trying to kill your work, man. That's not what I'm here to do, but you got to be responsible. You got to start thinking about the safety and the concern of the driving public. You know what I mean? And the people who are issuing these contracts should stipulate in your contract that if a supervisor come around and you don't have these things in place, they'll pull you, yank you off that contract, because you have to do it. Because if one of you get run down, the first thing you want is protection. So, you know, you think about your own safety, think about the safety of the public. Yeah. So I think something needs to be said about that. Yeah,
well, you know, the first thing I was going to talk about was the fact that when workers are walking on the roadway, that us as drivers and people who use the road, we need to slow down as well. You know, we need to really cut the speed limit down a lot when the guys are on the road. Sometimes they have their back turned to the traffic, right? And they're working, so we need to cooperate with them. But what you're saying is absolutely right. We also need to have the proper safety things in place, meaning proper cones, proper lights, proper signage, proper flaggers, everything. We need to step it up. As a colleague of mine was saying to me today, we don't have that little bit of traffic like what we had a couple of years ago. We have massive traffic these days. In any minute that you stand on the road, we're here now, 30 to 100 cars could pass you within a half an hour. You know, so it's a lot more traffic than we had in the past. So we have to do things a little differently than how we were accustomed to doing them in the past.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
And you know, lights, definitely lights. If you're going to walk in the night, I think there should be bright, very bright, aggressive lights on the road. I mean, to the point where you have to note. No, you have to note. You as a driver have to notice that the lights are shining on you in your direction. So we really have to, I think, pay more attention to the way we conduct ourselves doing this type of work. One, and two, I think some public education would be so necessary, because I don't know about you, but I listen to all the radio stations and I look at all the media, and in a number of instances you don't see or hear anything, and then you see action being done, and just a little PR, just a little bit of PR, just a sound bite, you know, on the various we all know that the government have their own airways, the GIS, and they can send stuff wrong to all the media and all that kind of stuff. So just a little sound bite will really improve, I think, the way these things are done. And I think our good brother there, Jeffrey, I think he needs to toot his horn a little bit too, because he's been cleaning up the road and stuff like that. And what goes along with cleaning up the road is to encourage people to cover the trucks and stuff like that, so that the same dust and debris don't get back on the road while they're cleaning it. You know, so you know, small things like that I think will help a lot with the traffic. And you know, one of my colleagues was saying to me too, one of the reasons why the guys are using such bright lights is because we don't have the intersections light up, and we don't have a lot of the roadway light up properly. So people have to put on brighter lights so they can see where they're going. That's one argument, right? But we need to put those lights up so that people could stop changing their bulbs and blinding people. And the other thing is too is that we were talking again about the scooters too, and a lot of those guys, they make the scooter make noise, because if they don't make noise, the traffic offends them. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but if you can't hear a cycle, a lot of guys will just wave out in front of a cycle. So they make noise so you know that they're coming and that they're going to go around you. Now, one of these days we're going to have this discussion about these scooters, because I was doing a little back checking, and it was 25 years now that we're here with this 125 business. And laws are meant to govern people. And if that was the situation 25 years ago, I think we need to take a second look at it now and see if that's the way we want to go. If we want to continue to prevent anybody from exercising their right to be able to ride a motorcycle of a higher CC, or if it's just, you know, that's just how we're going to continue into the future. And at the same time, we only have one set of people out there riding 125 cycles, and some of them go in and out of the traffic, and then everybody get labeled as if they're the ones that are doing the same thing. Some people don't wear helmets, so everybody get labeled as they don't wear helmets. So somehow we need to have a discussion, educated discussion about transportation, you know, the various things that are happening in transportation, and of course not to leave out my one pet peeve that I always talk about, and that is providing a turning lane at some of the more busy intersections. We need to build some turning lanes, another lane in the middle, so that when the traffic is going west or going east, you can queue up and wait your turn to turn left, and turn right. That
allows the traffic to flow.
And that allows the traffic to flow. Yes,
I agree with that.
And we, you know, because some of us use the road to work. You know, we're out there working when we're on the road. We're not linemen, or we are not getting from A to B. The purpose of being on the road is to conduct work. I know you know about that, because all the taxi men that I know, that's what they do. They work. When they're on the road, they're not really getting from A to B. That is their job. Without being on the road, you're not making any money.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to continue to argument and ask for better road conditions as we move on. I know we're having some challenges at this point. I've seen there's a tender out for asphalt plant and all of that. So we have some challenges, but at the same time we have to press on. One of our most important products in this country is tourism, and if you don't have good roads, you know, they're going to take the message back to their hometown and say, well, we were in the Virgin Islands and the roads weren't that good. So let's improve it.
Well, I could tell you some of the comments I got.
Okay.
And it was just recent.
Okay.
The guy said to me, he said, Sam, you did a wonderful job, but your government don't like you guys. I said, what do you mean? He said, man, those roads are terrible. Now, I can't say that all the roads are bad. I think we have some decent roads some places, but there needs to be some major overhaul in some of the roads. We all know that.
Yeah.
You know, so we're not debating that or arguing that.
But we're just asking for it.
Yeah, but it's thing. Courtney, another text we had come in just recently. Somebody was congratulating the government on the work they've done at Craft Alive. They thought it was awesome, but they said that they hope that the government takes swift action to deal with the umbrella city now that's getting ready to start. They said right next to the cruise ship dock, the taxi stand over there, someone set up a table with a big umbrella and some clothes rack, and they thought, you know, wow, government just invested $1.2 million to have a decent place so folks can go and sell their product in a more aesthetic way. And here comes somebody across the street starting a whole nother session. So they said they think government needs to take some swift action on that, and I agree with that. I don't think government should allow anybody to set up any more tent cities or any more clothing shops. If you got a store, stay inside your store. Set up your business properly, set up your shelves, you know, encourage people to come in your business, be more proactive, you know, be friendly, be courteous to people, and then be smart about how you're selling your product to be competitive. Also, Courtney, somebody responded and said the grease trap is what's causing the smell and the decay down there. And they said, you know, government needs to, the people who are involved, what do you call them, who deal with health, needs to address that situation.
Environmental health.
So, but yeah, Courtney, I know you would like this too. I saw something in the headline. I opened with this about the 60 contractors who were given a workshop. The workshop was to address some of the training, the proposals, how to write proper proposal, what they should be looking for when they submitting proposal, and how they submit the information to government. I thought that was awesome. I know you're a man in this business for a long time.
Yeah.
What's your take on on that, and also the signing of the Virgin Gorda conceptual drawing to get the clinic up and running in a more efficient way. What do you think about those two?
Yeah, man. Well, the contractors, I think they raised some very interesting points while we were there at that meeting, and I think those are going to be addressed at some point. The fact of the matter is that a lot of our contractors are being challenged right now to not only look at jobs in the Virgin Islands, but look at in our region, because we're associate members of the OECS. So all the tendering that goes out in the OECS, we can also bid on those projects as well. So I think the contractors have to look at organizing themselves a little bit more professionally, so that they can not only position themselves for these jobs, but also for those other jobs as well. But I think the focus right now is on the jobs that we have that are coming up for the 15 point something million loan that we got from CDB.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard from the meeting, that was sort of the trend of trying to get the contractors involved in the various aspects of positioning themselves for those jobs, which is good. The Virgin Gorda issue, of course, we've been talking about that, the health care on Virgin Gorda for a long time. The idea that if you had to get sick right now in Virgin Gorda, you would have to take a speedboat to come down to Tortola, and something that has been going on for years. And the fact that Mr. Faulkner up in Anegada, one of the driving forces behind him coming down here and rallying for the legislature was because his wife was sick, and he wanted to find a way to take his wife to the doctor, and it was a big challenge for him at the time. Yes, and I am maintaining that all the work that he did was good for our country, but we must not forget that that situation still exists. And we have to look at these sister islands, and we have to look at improving the life for all our citizens, not just for the citizens on Tortola, but for those on Virgin Gorda, those on Anegada, those on Joshua Dyke, and all the other little keys and rocks that we have development going on as well. So, bear that in mind. I think we've seen some development, in my opinion, that is good. We've seen the positioning of the helipads, which is something that can, in sometime in the future, augment that whole transportation issue of airlift and when tourists or visitors or locals get sick and need to be transported. So we've seen some, and now the clinic the improvements of the clinic would be another area to me that would bring this to some new dimension.
Yeah.
So
Courtney, I want to let people know while we're here, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are open.
They're right, and the numbers are up there.
Numbers are up there. This is our second to last show. We want to get you guys in on the conversation. Don't sit back and wait, until when you think you hear something controversial, and then you have to respond. Again, I said in the opening that, sometimes this could be a good show to tell us what you think were good about what's happening. There's been a series of good things happening right now in the community. We have Craft Alive, we got signing of the clinic in Virgin Gorda.
Sam, not only in here, but it seems like it's something that's global as well, because we've just heard some good news that the U.S. economy is it's been a little bit more robust than it was. More work is going on, more jobs. People are getting more jobs, and of course we indirectly, I like to say indirectly, directly affected by what happened in the United States. If it snows, if there's a lot of snow in the States, we get some more tourists, and if people in the United States have a very bad economy and they can't travel, we suffer from it as well. We have to always pay close attention to what's happening in the United States, and to hear those figures coming in just after the election at that, in my opinion, that means that, you know, it's not election jargon. You know, this is for real.
Yeah, yeah. I just saw those numbers tonight, 7.8.
Yeah.
You know.
So if that is the case, I think we can expect a little bit more relief in terms of tourism. I think so. That's my prediction.
Well, I predict we're gonna not the end of this year, but I think by February, March, we're going to see a big jump in numbers.
Okay.
As soon as the weather, like you said, gets really, really nasty, that's what we need. We need snow in the States. They've been having a very mild winter.
Yeah.
But, Courtney, again, you know, there's a lot of push to educate our own people that the little bit that you get, find ways to make it work.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm glad you raised that, because
smart.
I'm glad you raised that, because I did my a little bit of reconnaissance myself, going around and seeing what's happening. And Sam, you would not believe this. It reminds me of an old colleague of mine, Mr. Stamford Connor. He used to say that, man, when I had Carnival, he used to say, if you see the thousands of people that are down on the field, that you need to come out. And people used to come out just because he said that. But yeah. I'm saying here tonight, if you see the people shopping, yeah. Like I saw the people shopping, they're spending, they're buying up stuff. Everything in the stores are max sold. Yeah. So if that is the case, I think if you're planning to buy anything, you better get out there and start buying it now, because you know, things have started to happen.
The deals are good.
The deals are good, and people are taking advantage early.
Well, that even goes to the Buy BVI Expo we have in Courtney.
Yes.
I mean, I was telling people earlier that, you know, the chairman and the deputy premier, I like their opening remarks, and it was all about encouraging people to start spending at home.
It was positive.
Spending among each other,
yeah.
And vendors and business owners being more entrepreneurial.
And aggressive.
More creative and aggressive.
And aggressive, yeah.
Aggressive, not nasty, but aggressive means aggressive with your price structure. Aggressive
Sam,
with good customer service.
I don't know what they mean by aggressive, but I'll tell you what I think it means by aggressive. Those other guys, our competitors, we spend something like $40 million in the U.S. Virgin Islands and in Puerto Rico, and those guys are offering free tickets. They're dropping the prices on things that they know that we need, and that is aggressive to me. So if all guys are going to do the same thing, they're going to be aggressive. But if they're going to just sit back and say, you know, people are going to shop with us, I think they're making a big mistake, and they need to, you know, hire a marketing professional if they don't have one, and really start to walk the market. Find your niche. Find your niche and find the path of all local people's pocket that you could get into and walk that area. That's my advice.
Yeah. No, I agree, Courtney.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I want to inject myself here a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize and I recognize being in tourism, and every chance I get to sell something different and try something different, I'm going to do it. So that's my encouragement to folks. I on my website, I put on an agriculture tour.
I've seen it.
Since I did the show here with those guys, Coy and them, and Coy and I still yet to sit down and really plot it out, but I know in my head what I want the people them to experience and getting feedback from the people. So I put it up on my site. Within a month, Courtney, I had 2 hits already. Yeah. I got a first set of people booked, confirmed, ready to come on the 27th of this month. Okay. You know, so there's people looking for different things. Everybody's selling a cultural tour. Well, everybody can't sell a cultural tour because there's somebody that wants something different. Yeah. I have a tour called a la carte, where people can do whatever they want, however they want, go wherever they want, not restricted. They just pay by the hour. And you know what, Courtney, you'll be surprised to know how many people actually hit me up on that. So all I'm saying to the folks who have businesses is being aggressive to me means, again, like Courtney said, being smart about pricing, being smart about how to capture people. You know, there's a practice that a lot of retailers use in the States. It's called window shopping, where they have a certain things inside the store. It's sort of deceiving, but you know, you have something in the window and it looks great. You know, everybody's wow, 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 look at that. Let me go and try something like that on. You walk in the store, they only had one left. But then they encourage you and introduce you to new things, new ideas. Here's something else that's very similar to what you saw in the window. Unfortunately, we don't have any of that. So people gotta be quick, they gotta be smart. You gotta start talking to people. You can't just sit around and come on in my store and that's it. engage in a conversation. What do you like? You know, how was your day? Start getting into people's head, and then all of a sudden that 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30-second conversation will lead them to say, oh man, I'll feel guilty if I don't pick up something.
Yeah. Sam, we got a text that just came in. I want to go to it. It said, hey guys, did you guys hear about the forced landing at the airport and the great work by the airport staff for the quick response? Yes, I heard about that, and I think that's commendable, and I think we should really commend those guys at the airport for doing a great job of making sure that everything ended up to be a good story and a safe story, because it would have been an unfortunate situation, you know, if it didn't go well. So I think that's you know, that's very commendable of the people that were involved in that up there. And Sam, I would like to say too, I understand that there's an exercise plan for the airport as well coming up soon, and it is because of the simulation exercises that are done, where people, you know, practice what to do in the case of an emergency, that really allows personnel to perform at their best when something actually happens. So those of you who have to cooperate with those exercises, don't feel anyway, just go through the motions and cooperate. You may be a little bit delayed, but at the same time, simulation exercises are necessary so that when we have the real activity, we have a way of dealing with them. Sam, at this time we're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back with you.